some folks with plenty of cash. What's going on? Today I'm bringing you guys to Kangaroo Flat, Goldfields territory, right in the guts of Victoria. We're near Bendigo, so we're like 2 minutes out of Bendigo. Old school Goldfields burial plot. Some of the graves in this place are as old as we're probably going to find on the Goldfields. Let's get after it. So straight up in the gate here, we've got this plot. There's 3 stones in it. It's a Luxton family. This to me looks like it would have been erected probably not that long ago. When I say not that long ago, I mean the guy in there was 47. He died in 1867, but his name's James Luxton. I reckon that would have been erected like 100 years later, because it looks sort of late model to me, so it's more like a memorial. But this here was actually erected by James Luxton himself. So he stood here, this was his erection, in memory of his sister-in-law, Elizabeth Ann. She was the daughter of Nicholas Bassett. You've got to be a bit careful, you go down the rabbit hole. She was 21 anyway, so James's sister-in-law was 21, she was put here. This is very old, like the old sandstone. But then the one up the back here, this one's the real rabbit hole. This is slate. It's incredibly, I don't know whether it shows up on camera, dudes, but it's, you know, it's starting to slice up. It's slate. Dudes, it's old, right? No doubt, it's really old. But it's a bit weird. So these old graves have a very, very backwards terminology. It's like they tell the story backwards, and they actually take a lot to wrap your head around. But from what I've gathered, the memory of Elizabeth Ann, she was the daughter of James and Mary Ann Luxton. So James and Mary are the parents here. The grave is a memorial to Elizabeth Ann, right? She was 2 years and 9 months. And then their son, Daniel B., he was a son of the above, James and Mary Ann Luxton, and he died 1 year and 9 months. So they sort of, I don't know, you've got to be a bit careful as to what you're reading, and it is a bit of a rabbit hole, but James and Mary Ann Luxton were the parents of the 2 children that are buried here. So definitely would have been some sad, some very, very sad times on this piece of ground that I'm standing on. No doubt it would have been incredibly rough. When you spend a bit of time walking around these places, you start to, look, I'm not an expert, I'm not trying to be that expert, but you can put a bit of a date on things. Graves that sort of look like this, you know, the stone, polished, marble sort of effect. They're sort of like mid-1900s, I date them. 1942 to be exact on this one. Ones where they start getting the more vertical erected monument like this, they could be like right up to, well, to be honest, they could be right up to current. They still do them. But then the little concrete borders that are sort of poured, it looks like they're poured and made on site. You know, they're sort of mid-1900s again. Not exact, but it puts a bit of a date on things. Some people don't even get, you know, they don't even get a marker. I mean, I'm not sure how well this shows up on camera, but this is quite a mound of dirt. The people that run the cemeteries, when they get sinkholes as the graves sink, they actually fill them in. It's a bit of a hazard, of course, if you've got graves that are filling into like holes and stuff. So they come along and they top them up, and I think that's sort of what we're seeing. You can see a lot of unmarked graves, and they're like them little mounds, like hump, 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 but there's no marker. Some of them have got a number, but then over the years, you know, kids pluck them out and fiddle with them or whatever. So they do, man, they end up lost to time. But back to what I was saying originally, a lot of the older graves, see one like this stands, look at this guy right here. This stands out to me because it's that earlier sandstone sort of stuff. It's not concrete. I don't know what it is. It's like an old, anyway, I bet you it's old. I guarantee you it's old. Yeah, look, 1870, Edgar Walton Myman. He was 56, passed away May 28th, 1870. I mean, it's like a sandstony, it may have been man-made. Look, I don't know. It's very old. And you can tell when you sort of peer around a cemetery, you can always tell the true old ones. Obviously slate ones like at the front there, that Luxton family. The slate ones are definitely always gonna, here's another one over here I've just noticed. Let's check this out, man. Let's check this out. What do we got here? Oh, I bet you this is another oldie. What do we got here? 1881, yep, Charles Porter. Died on the 2nd of February, 1881, he was 50. But again, I don't know what this is made out of. It's still standing relatively true. I mean, it's got a bit of lean that way. You know, it started to sink in the corner a bit and topple in, but it's doing all right, man. It's doing all right. It's holding up pretty good. This one beside us here, what do we got? Thomas Porter, 1855, in the 3rd year of his age, so he was 3. 1859, we got another one in there, 1 year and 2 months. So this is children. This is children. It's only a short grave too, which you don't normally see, but it's significantly shorter than the one behind it, which is probably true to what I was saying. You know, you got little graves, little caskets piled on top of each other in there. Sad times, man, back then. Like a lot of cholera, a lot of bad water. Diarrhea was killing a lot of kids. You know, they were cleaning up in creeks and waterways, and there was no perfectly clean chlorinated water at the tap. So one kid got sick, and then the germs sort of got in the water supplies, and it just spread around, and it binned so many little kids. Man, it's treacherous times, but and that's what you find a lot of in here. There's so many plots just full of kids, just families just burying their whole family load of children, which is rough, real rough. Being an old goldfields burial plot, the dirt, it's have a look, it's like that quartzy sort of, it's, to be honest, it's almost the same sort of stuff that they've made some of the headstones out of. Like the very first headstones were made out of this same, they've been carved out of this same sort of, it's not basalt, it's like a sandstone. And you can see that they've actually, you know, all these graves, they've had to dig through this sort of, this rock to bury the dead. So it's, the way I see fit is that it is a genuine old school goldfield cemetery. It's just got that, I don't know, man, it's just got that grit about it, you know, like it's just, if you concentrate, you can almost see the horse and cart bringing in the dead. It really spells out Victorian goldfields to me. Little decorative graves like this, I often think that you could just see the Victorian or Edwardian dressed families sitting around, you know, trying to do what they can to decorate the grave of mum or dad or their children or whoever may be in there. We'll never know, man, because it's just a number, and the number that's on it really doesn't really mean anything, because that tag could have been booted from one grave or another. They're lying around here everywhere. I'll find some and show you soon, but we'll never know who's in there. But the point being, I sort of look at it, man, and I feel like I can just see the people decorating it and trying to give the best that they could with what they had left, which really was nothing. Some folks with plenty of cash What's the name of this? We got, well, it's going to be a family. I'll show you in a sec. Bissell, the Bissell family. Well, they can erect bigger monuments. This is not massive, but it's one of the biggest ones in here. This generally means you got a fair bit of coin. You know, 1889, we've got someone interred here, 1929, 1890, 1929 being the latest one. Is there anything written on the other side? 1903, and nothing on the back. So, you know, there's been nobody placed here for some time, but a grave this size, like a plot taking up this much area, it's got heavy cast iron railing around it, carved blue stone. You know, they've got a bit of money to spend, for sure. They've definitely thrown some coin at it. 47 years old is probably not a very good run. 89, you're doing okay. 71, I'm not so sure that's a good run anymore. Age 95 on the other side, Edward. 95's a big innings, man. You've done well. Yeah, you've done well. So if you were looking up on Find a Grave, like an old relative or something, and you came along looking for numbers on these unmarked plots, like there are interments everywhere around here. They're not all in a concrete tomb, right? They're not all that lucky, but of all of them, I found this one here. This one's got a number on it, and this is what they normally are. They're like a little, I don't know. Well, is that even part of it? Because to be honest, I didn't realise, but that is loose. I'll leave it right where it is, but this thing could have been booted anywhere, man. Like that could have come from, seriously, that could have come from anywhere. Is that grave? Because grave number 3186, which is what's on it, well, that could be James Smith or whatever, and that's fine, but is that marker belonging to that grave? This is a bit of a problem, you see. Again, you'd be bummed here because this one's not even lead. This one's full cast steel. We can tell that because it's all rusty. The other one from before was lead, so it still sort of remained grey. But anyway, this is a rusty one, 2688, and it's sitting right here. It's not even, to be honest, it's not even, it's in the walkway. What does that belong to? If you had 2688 as a reference point for your family member, well, that's about the only part that you're going to guarantee of finding, because the rest, as in the grave, it's out there somewhere, man, but you're never going to find it. And you'll never know for sure. Maybe there's a bit of a map too. There are rough maps, so we can sort of roughly figure out where it is, but we can't pinpoint it. Be bummed about that a little bit. Check this out, this is a big guy. This is big. I mean, they've lashed out too. They've got these like Barcelonian wreaths. Is that a wreath? Is that what they call it, a wreath? What's this little placard here say? Descendants may contact, oh, not gonna say that, but there is a little plaque on there. 1865, age 31, Elizabeth. She was the beloved wife of George Eliot. See what I mean, how they tell the story backwards? So it's in memory of Elizabeth, she's the one in here, but then they've got George Eliot here, so you see the name George Eliot and you think George Eliot's in there, but George ain't the one that's in there, it's Elizabeth. But I'm sure if you walk around, George has probably ended up in there eventually. No, Florence, Ernest, James, George, beloved children of George, Florence, Eliot. So the children are in there, no mention of George. Does that mean George didn't make it there? Maybe George lived forever, I don't know, but anyway, his wife died at 31 years of age. That's not a very good innings. To be honest, I'd be pretty disappointed with that for an effort. Obviously got sick. All the children are in there. What do we got? We got 1869, it says like 19 days old, Ernest. 2 months old, James. 1 year old in 1874. That was their children. But no mention of George, the husband. What happened to George? Does that bum you a little bit? I feel a little bit bummed by that. Where's George? No mention on the back either. Maybe he went on and remarried, and maybe he's with his second wife, because that all ended early. If his first wife died at 31, it looks like most of their children, if not all of them, got bad luck and died as well. Maybe he went on and remarried, and maybe he's buried with his next wife somewhere. He might have lived another, hell, he could have lived another 70 years. He could have died at 101 years old. That would have been like 71 years past his wife. Anyway, there's the rabbit hole that you can go down if you want to study up on things. I've not really seen a monument like this before. It's like a pedestal on a block that's been hand carved. There's like a book on the top, obviously. I can't read it, it's inaudible. I'm sure if you clean that moss and stuff off, you could probably read it, maybe. I've not seen one like that before. Over here we've got a heap of markers, which is interesting. One here that's cast, snapped off. We can only assume that that's belonging to that plot. We've got another 1, 2, 3, yeah, that's not bad. No markers on these two guys over here, but these three, at least the markers are sticking out of the ground. 4, 5, one missing in the middle here. We can only hope that they're, you know, and then again, like homemade decorative. Look, they're lead. They're the ones that I reckon are more like a lead. They're like a, see how they've remained sort of grey. They don't really rot or rust. They'll outlive all of us. Oh wow, look at all the others there. There's heaps of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 of them there, all on one grave. Does that mean there's 5 people in there, or does that mean that somebody's lost them and they've just sat them all there? Who knows? Who knows? Another homemade decorative one up here, but then that's got, look at that. That's got 3. There's a cast one. Oh, no, they're everywhere. Look at them. 1, there's a cast one, 2 lead ones, another cast one, another 2 lead ones. So that's 6 markers. Nah, I don't think that there'd be 6 people in there, to be honest with you. Maybe. That seems like a lot, man. It's like very gumtree around here too, check it. That's the Great Australian Bush right there. Look at these gum trees here. I mean, we're coming into winter now, so we've got a summer load of leaves just sprinkled everywhere across this gravesite. Welcome to Australia. This one is pretty bizarre. I've not seen one like this either. It's well, it's weird. It's got wreaths like the big guy that we were looking at before, but same castings. So same farrier or whatever has cast, not farrier, sorry, foundry, same foundry has cast the borders. But these massive stones here on pedestals, I'd hate to think what they'd weigh. They'd weigh as much as, easily as much as a Silverado or a big full-size SUV. They'd be heavy, probably as heavy as 1.5 SUVs, to be honest with you. But what they probably didn't think about is I'm assuming on here, under all this moss, I'm assuming there's going to be all the writing of what's gone on here. But they didn't think ahead because, well, moss is an issue, but corrosion, like the water sitting on there is a big issue, and it sort of erodes it to a degree. So within 100 years, it becomes pretty inaudible to read. I can see writing under here. It's embossed quite deeply and it's quite clear, but you'd need to give it a real mad scrubbing to be able to read what's going on in there. But it's a big plot. Big plot. Forgotten about, and it's literally getting consumed again Mother Nature's consuming it and taking it back. But I would say nobody comes out. There'd be no descendants left from the family or whatever. Just forgotten and left to the elements. Like I was saying earlier, just walking by, there's a tag down in there. This has already got its own marker and everything, so that has been booted there. Another random one here. They're everywhere, mate. No way of knowing where they were ever supposed to be allocated. Just lying around everywhere. Look at this. Like, no stonework to retain it, which makes me think that, to be honest, probably doesn't even belong there. It's probably come off more like a grave. No, not like that, that's too late a model. But one like this. See how it's got the bluestone base? It sort of tells me that, you know, you get kids, man. Kids come in here drinking booze and that over the years, and just kids being kids, you know, they don't realise how shit they're being. And they grab that as a joke and walk off with it, and just ends up dumped there, and the caretakers don't really know what to do, you know, about it, or they don't know where it come from. These joints are just, to be honest, they're really just, they're left, man, and it's up to the public to really maintain them. There's a caretaker, but it's up to us, man. Like, it's not really up to the caretaker to look after all this stuff, you know? So amongst what I would call later model graves, we've got this old girl. Now, it's become pretty inaudible because it's the old slate. James Ryan is all I can really make out. Probably 1868. I can see the 6 and the 8. I'm not going to touch it because it's about to crumble off. But yeah, the whole rest of it here is gone, and it's sitting on a mad angle. So yeah, in the coming years, it's definitely going to find its way face down, and that'll be the end of it. But it's funny how it's sort of in amongst. They're so sporadic the way they arrange these places back in the day. Like, this grave would have been just sort of plonked in the middle of, well, in the middle of a cemetery, really, like no order. It's another old guy here. What is this one? This one here is pretty old. Yeah, 1869, age 35. 1876, 46 years old, John Dooley. 1873, 11 months old. It's not a very good result for any of them, to be honest. Not a very big innings at all. 35, 46 and 11 months. Rough, man. Rough. Didn't even really get a shot at it. Even 46, that's not getting a shot at it. Jesus. Right up the back, there's this big guy. Well, I mean, it's sizable. It's not as cool as the one that we looked at earlier that's got the, you know, the Jesus or the angel looking creation on the top of it. It's just a cross with, like, I don't know, flowers, floral sort of thing draped down it. 1895. Doesn't seem to be any others on it. Yeah, it's just Martin Clifford's his name. 57, 1895. But what I'm noticing is these massive cast iron, some of it's missing, don't get me wrong, like some of it's still here. And over yonder, if we come back here, this piece has come off the corner. I feel like I want to fix it. We're not allowed to. I'm talking hypothetically, but it just, it bugs me out, man. I just feel like I just want to, yeah, reassemble it and sandblast it and repaint it and just make it right. You know, give it another 100 years of life. But where's the rest of it? Like, some of it's there, but, you know, people come in here taking stuff. Steel scrap pricing, especially, I know 15 years ago, steel scrap pricing went up to like $1,000 a ton or more. That was the worst thing to ever happen to all our historic steel, man. Like cars and, you know, this stuff would have copped it, because people come in here and they just take it. Like, it's for every bollard that's snapped off and sitting on the ground, man. Like, they take that and cash it in. Like, it probably weighs 100 kilos, weighs $100. So, you know, it was the worst thing to ever happen as far as I'm concerned, that steel scrap price hike. It really put people in a vulnerable spot too, man. You know, like cool old historic stuff that was worth good money was now worth nothing on a sale because they could sell it at a steel scrap merchant for more than what they get trying to sell it for what it even is. So cars especially, man, they copped it. Like, yeah, some of the old Falcons and stuff that got smashed up, A models and stuff, like people were just smashing up like 351 engine blocks and old V8 253s, 308s. They were worth more to scrap in weight than what they were to sell. And now we want them all back. It's funny how that goes, isn't it? Well, after all that, man, that about sums me up. Kangaroo Flat Cemetery, thanks for hanging out. If you've watched this far, you know I appreciate you for that. And we'll catch up on the next one, eh? Thanks for watching. Bye, everyone.